Hello and welcome everybody to Oil Asset of the Day, presented by myself, Phil Carr, at the Gold and Silver Club. So what do you need to know for the week ahead with respect to crude oil? So first of all, if we have a look at WTI crude oil, which is trading at the moment at $52 per barrel, we suggested last week that you really wanted to look for evidence of buyers coming in at the lower end of the channel and going back to the yearly lows around that $50 per barrel handle, which also provided support at the beginning of the year over the first quarter. Now, what we saw last week, we did see $50 per barrel on WTI crude oil get respected as a major level of support, and in fact we saw over a 4% breakout to the upside just on Thursday after we saw attacks on shipping tankers in the Middle East, which have been blamed now on Iran by the US, and we saw immediately a breakout to the upside on Thursday, over a 4% move, in fact rallying US oil back above that $53 per barrel handle. Now at the moment we're continuing to see oil consolidate. I'd suggest for this week you really want to look at a range of $50 per barrel up to around 54, so within approximately a 400-point range on oil for this week. Now we do have some key data points that you want to be aware of. Of course, again, you have the API data, which is coming out on Tuesday, which will be approximately 9:30 London time. Last week we did see another increase in the overall build on oil inventories, and as a result, not only on the Tuesday but also on the Wednesday, which is the oil inventories is at 3:30 every single Wednesday London time, we did see again another oversupply in the market, the highest level since 2017. And what we're tending to see at the moment is the lows of the week for oil are at the moment, the cycle is they're getting put in normally from Wednesday after we get the build in US inventory. So we really need to see a big shift in that inventory build in order to not see the potential for another sell-off taking the price back towards $50 per barrel. If, for example, we were to see a drawdown in the overall oil inventories, that could actually help as a catalyst to propel oil prices higher. Now, don't also underestimate the impact of the FOMC statement. Traditionally, that can also be a big mover for crude oil. We have a lot of data coming out between Tuesday and Wednesday for oil. You really want to watch those ranges this week. So the way I'll be looking at that, if we do get a reversal, and we're mid-range at the moment, we're $52 per barrel. If we get a reversal back to 50, I'd be looking out for evidence of buyers coming in. I want to see whether we are going to see, again, support at that level. If we don't see support, obviously we could then break further down below $50 per barrel. If we close below that, then we're going to start seeing a shift towards 47.50, and the next major handle would be 45, but that's unlikely to be this week. But if we respect $50 per barrel, we springboard from this level. We're mid-range at the moment at 52. That's where I'm then looking for a retest back towards that $54 per barrel handle, where we're seeing quite a lot of profit taking at the moment. From hedge funds and money managers, they have reduced their overall net long positions again in the latest week, but we're now getting to levels that we saw at the beginning of the year before oil actually really found a solid base and then went on to propel over 40% to the upside into April. And since then, oil, US oil in particular, has corrected over 20% to the downside. So you really want to have a look this week at some of the key data points, how oil is going to react to that, and also keep an eye on fundamentals. Obviously, what's going on between the US and the Middle East at the moment, we are seeing that have an immediate impact very quickly, in fact, on oil prices. The OPEC meeting has now been suggested to be pushed out to the second week of July, and it is anticipated that OPEC are going to continue to cut overall output, and that will be extended until the end of the year. But of course, we need confirmation of that. And what we're seeing at the moment is a lot of these narratives, which are bullish and positive for oil sentiment, are typically tending to come out on Thursday and Friday. So right now, we're tending to see the lows of the week get formed around Tuesday and Wednesday after the build in US oil inventories. And then we're normally seeing support come in later in the week on Thursdays and Fridays. That's tended to be the cycle lately, and that's what I would look out for. Trading the range, looking for evidence of buyers coming in at the lower end of the range, obviously then capitalizing on a 300 to 400 point move like we saw exactly last week off the $50 per barrel handle, over a 300-point move to the upside very quickly on the Thursday. So I hope some of you did manage to catch that on that evidence of buying coming in at the lower end of the channel. So really the key data points to look at over the course of this week, you want to keep an eye certainly on number one, the OPEC meeting, which is scheduled now to take place. At the moment, it's still scheduled for the end of June, but there are talks to push this out until the second week of July. So just keep your eye on any narratives regarding the OPEC meeting. Also, we want to have a look at the overall rhetoric regarding US and Iran at the moment. We see that more troops are now being sent out to the Middle East in order to prepare for potential escalation in the region. So with that, you might see some of the breaking news headlines, which is why it's very important to have a research-driven approach and have access to news feeds. A lot of that sentiment can very quickly impact the market. 4% move to the upside last Thursday off the back of 2 of the shipping tankers being attacked was a very fast move that you could take advantage of if you got access to news feeds. So keep an eye on what's going on between the Middle East and also the USA at the moment. And also you want to have an eye on Wednesday's oil inventories and the API data on Tuesdays. You want to look out to see if there's been a drawdown or an increase, another build in inventories. Each week at the moment, we're continuing to see a build in the overall oil inventories and tending to see the low of the week come in on a Wednesday. So with that, that has been Oil Asset of the Day. I wish you good trading and we'll see you back here next week.